Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to see about the Great Pyramids of Giza. Learn about the mysterious history of the ancient Egyptians and why they built the three pyramids of Giza, including the Great Pyramid of Giza. This handy teaching wiki also explores what is inside the Great Pyramids of Giza and features some of the amazing facts about Giza. So let's get started. The Great Pyramid of Giza. The Great Pyramid of Giza is a huge pyramid built by the ancient Egyptians. It stands near Cairo, Egypt, and it is the last remaining wonder of the ancient world. When it was built, it was 147 meters tall, and it was the tallest building in the world for over 3,800 years. The pyramid was built for Khufu, an Egyptian pharaoh. It is true that Khufu's vizier, his closest advisor, Humayuni, was the architect of the structure. It is believed that it took more than 50,000 workers about 20 years to build and was completed around 257 BC. When it was built, the Great Pyramid was covered by bright white stones that formed a smooth outer surface, although most of the stones were lost over time. The majority of what can be seen of the pyramid now is its basic core of 2.3 million blocks of limestone and granite. The Great Pyramid is a part of a group of buildings called the Giza necropolis. They are also sometimes referred to as the Pyramids of Giza. This trio includes two mortuary temples in honor of Khufu. One is close to the pyramid and one is near the Nile. There are also three smaller pyramids for Khufu's wives. Keep reading through this handy wiki page to learn some fascinating pyramids of Giza facts and what it's like inside the pyramids of Giza. When was the Great Pyramid built? It is believed by Egyptologists that the pyramid was built as a tomb for 4th dynasty Egyptian pharaoh Khufu and was constructed over a 20-year period. Based on these estimates, building the pyramid in 20 years will involve quarrying, transporting, and placing approximately 800 tons of stones every day. What materials were used to build the Great Pyramid? Traditionally, ancient Egyptians will cut huge stone blocks by hammering into them wooden wedges, which were then soaked with water. As the water was absorbed, the wedges expanded, causing the rock to crack. Once they were cut, they were carried by boat either up or down the Nile River to the pyramid. Upon completion, the Great Pyramid was surfaced by white casing stones. These were slant faced, flat topped, and highly polished white limestones. The casing stones were carefully cut and placed to create smooth surface. Unfortunately, much of the casing stones were stolen away over time. In AD 1303, a massive earthquake loosened many of the outer casing stones, which were then carted away by Bahri Sultan al-Nasir. Nasir ad-Din al-Hassan in 1356 to build mosques and fortresses in nearby Cairo. Muhammad Ali Pasha removed many more in the early 19th century to build the upper portion of his alabaster mosque in Cairo, not far from Gaza. Later explorers, such as British archaeologists, reported massive piles of rubble at the base of the pyramids, left over from the continuing collapse of the casing stones, which were subsequently cleared away during continuing excavations of the site. Theories about how they built the Great Pyramids. Many theories have been proposed over the centuries regarding the pyramid's construction theories. Historians cannot agree on whether the blocks were dragged, lifted, or even rolled into places. The Greeks believed that forced labor was used, but modern discoveries made at nearly workers. Camps associated with construction at Giza suggest that it was built instead by tens of thousands of skilled workers. Egyptologists estimated that the total project requires an average workforce about 14,500 people and a peak workforce of roughly 40,000 without the use of pulleys, wheels, or iron tools. Now let us know what is inside the Pyramid of Giza. Let's explore the intricate and historical inside of the Pyramid of Giza. The entrance to the pyramid. The original entrance to Great Pyramid is on the north of the structure, standing 17 meters above ground level. From this original entrance, there is a descending passage which goes down at an angle through the masonry of the pyramid and into the bedrock beneath it. There is a continuation of the horizontal passage that leads to a chamber close to the entrance. There is also a pit dug in the floor of the chamber. Some Egyptologists believe that this lower chamber was intended to be the original burial chamber, but Pharaoh Khufu later changed his mind and wanted it to be higher up in the pyramids. The Queen's Chamber. The Queen's Chamber is exactly halfway between the north and south faces of the pyramid. At the eastern end of the chamber, there is a niche 4 meters high. The original depth of the niche was 1 meter deep but has since been abandoned by the treasure hunters. In the north and the south walls of the Queen's Chamber, there are shafts which, unlike those in the King's Chamber, that immediately slopes upward, are horizontal for around 2 meters before sloping steeply upwards. Their purpose is unknown. At the end of one of the shafts, a ball of black diorites, a type of rock, and a bronze implement of unknown purpose were discovered by the explorers. One of the shafts was blocked by the limestone doors with the huge copper handles. In 2002, a team of explorers drilled a small hole in the southern door to discover another set of doors behind it. The northern passage, which was difficult to navigate because of twists and turns, was also found to be blocked by a door. The team later used a flexible camera that could see around corners to look deeper into the chamber. They discovered hieroglyphs written in red paint. They also found the reverse side of the door was finished and polished, which suggests that it was not put there just to block the shaft from debris, but rather for a more specific reason. The Grand Gallery. The Grand Gallery continues the slope of the ascending passage towards the top of the pyramid. At the base, it is 2 meters wide. The floor of the Grand Gallery consists of a step on either side, 51 centimeters wide. In the step, there are 54 slots that form a cross shape rising out of the slots in the shelf. The purpose of these slots is not known, but the central gutter in the floor of the gallery, which is the same width as the ascending passage, hence led to speculations that blocking stones were stored in the grand gallery and the slots held wooden beams to restrain them from sliding down the passage. The King's Chamber. The King's Chamber is 10 meters from east to west and 5 meters from north to south. Raised from the floor, they had 2 narrow shafts in the north and south walls. The purpose of this shaft is not clear. They appear to be aligned towards stars or areas of the northern and southern skies. They were long believed by Egyptologists to be air shafts for ventilation, but this idea has now been widely abandoned in favor of the shaft serving a ritualistic purpose, associated with ascension of the pharaoh's spirit to paradise. The only object in the king's chamber is a rectangular granite sarcophagus. One corner of it is broken. The sarcophagus is slightly larger than ascending passage, which indicates that it must have been placed in the chamber before the roof was put in place. Historians do not know in reality if Khufu is entombed in the Great Pyramid of Giza. The Pyramid at Giza actually holds two burial chambers. One lies directly beneath the construction, as was the norm with other pyramids. The second burial chamber is placed at a height of about 42 meters and is attached to many smaller chambers that haven't been fully explored. Whether Khufu was buried in one of these chambers or whether he died in such a way that his body was lost, we don't know about it. The Robbers Channel. Tunnel. Nowadays, to get inside the Pyramid of Giza, you have to use what's known as the Robbers Tunnel. This tunnel was cut into the original masonry of the pyramid around 7 meters above the base of the structure. The Robbers Tunnel runs primarily in a straight, horizontal line for around 27 meters and then makes a sharp left turn as it hits the ascending passage. Interestingly, the Roberts Tunnel was not part of the original design of the Great Pyramid. This means that it was cut in the inside of the Pyramids of Giza in the years following its construction. There are a couple of theories as to how the tunnel got made. The first theory argues that the Caliph Abdullah al-Mamun was responsible for its construction. The other theory, however, does not credit him with its build. Theory 1. The first theory argues that the tunnel was built around 2080 under the instructions and supervisions of the 17th Caliph or ruler of the Islamic Empire, Caliph Abdullah al-Mamun. It is believed to have been built using a battering ram which knocked down sections of the Great Pyramid. The aggressive method used to build the tunnel caused the stones in the ceiling of the descending passage to be dislodged. As the stone fell, it blocked the entrance to the ascending passage, which was a major point of concern for the builders currently inside the Pyramid of Giza. When the stones was dislodged, it made a loud noise and slid down the descending passage, which signified to the builders that they should turn left. They attempted to move the stones, but it proved impossible. The only option was start digging up beside them, where the pyramid was built with a softer limestone. They did this until they reached the ascending passage. Thus, Robbers Tunnel was formed. Theory 2. The second theory and how the Robbers Tunnel inside the Pyramid of Giza was constructed argues that the tunnel was actually just carved shortly after the pyramid was initially sealed. In this account of the tunnel's constructions, scholars believe that the tunnel was resealed some years later. If this theory is correct, it will mean that the robbers' tunnel already existed before Caliph Abdullah al Mamun's expeditions ever took place. The Caliph's workmen then will have just enlarged and expanded upon the tunnels as opposed to the building it from the scratches. Giza Facts dives deeper into these fascinating wonders of the ancient world. But this amazing pyramid of Giza facts. Fact number one: the pyramid of Giza was the first to be built. The first pyramid ever to built was the pyramid of Giza, located in Al Giza Desert. This pyramid was built for Pharaoh Giza, Saqqara, south of Giza, around the year 2630 BC as the burial place for the king. The Pyramid of Giza was a huge and impressive structure with six distinct tiers and four sides. Fact number two: the Great Pyramid was built after the Red Pyramid. The Red Pyramid was the third pyramid built by the pharaoh Snefru between the years built 2575 and 2551 BC. The pyramid was constructed at the royal burial ground Dahshur and stood at approximately 341 feet or 104 meters tall. It was after construction of the Red Pyramid. The pharaoh Khufu began building the Great Pyramid of Giza. Once complete, the Great Pyramid was the largest pyramid ever built in the ancient Egypt. It served as a tomb for all of Khufu's wives and also contains a range of strange features including a morgue, valley, temple, both pits, and raised roads. Fact number three: the Pyramid of Giza have shrunk over time. When they were first built, the Pyramid of Giza stood quite a bit taller than they do today, as they have eroded over time. For instance, when it was originally constructed, the Great Pyramid of Giza towered over 147 meters tall, but it now measures around 139 meters in height. An iron triangle has been placed on top of the Great Pyramid to represent the capstones that once marked the peak of the structure. Fact number 4. The chambers of the pyramid lie empty. When they were originally built, the tombs underneath all of the pyramids were filled with both human remains and gifts for the dead to take into the afterlife. However, once the iconic structure was opened up to the public, lots of people came in and ransacked them, leaving the tombs completely empty. The only thing left is Pyros Khufu's red granite sarcophagus. Even the white limestone casing that covered the outside of the pyramid was taken and used by different rulers in other building projects. If someone were to rob a tomb nowadays, they wouldn't find much of monetary value. But ancient Egyptians were actually buried with lots of possessions. Pharaohs were buried with lots of treasure and even at times some of their enslaved peoples. Rulers in other lands knew of this and thus destroyed the pyramids and took all of the treasures back to the kingdom. The evidence of many failed breakings can be seen in a big hole that was made in the pyramid structure. Fact number 5. The pyramids were built by skilled workers. Despite the widespread narrative that the Pyramids of Giza were built by enslaved people, this was actually not the case. Experts have estimated that it will have been taken at least 20,000 to 30,000 skilled workers, including masons, engineers, architects, surveyors, and other craftsmen, to construct the Great Pyramid. All in all, it has been estimated that over 100,000 workers were involved in the construction of the Pyramid of Giza. It is believed that these skilled craftsmen will have been working on the pyramid and different shifts all year round. This means that they would have been working during the summer months when the river Nile flooded the valley nearby. This event led to the integration of a permanent labor force. Fact number 6. The Pyramid of Giza are the oldest wonders of the world. The Pyramid of Giza are the oldest of the 7 wonders of the world. They date all the way back to the year 250 BC and are still in condition to this day. The Pyramids of Giza are also the only remaining wonder of the ancient world. Fact number 7. The Great Pyramid had an invisible door. Historians believe that at one point the Great Pyramid contained a swivel door that weighed a massive 20 tons. It was only possible to push this door open from the inside of the pyramid, and it was completely concealed from the outside. The hidden entry was so well hidden that it was actually only discovered when the Great Pyramid was studied by the scientists. They uncovered two oak spiral doors the opening mechanism for which is still a mystery to this day.